The start of another bleak week here in crypto. So let's discuss exactly what happened over the weekend, what I think and what I'm planning for this weekend, and all of the news that you need to know to be fully up to date, because we do have a big week ahead of us. And guys, now is the time to be preparing. It's not the time to panic. It's not the time to complain. It's not the time to, I don't know, insert word here. It's a time to make those big moves, because this is the golden time right now. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but just bear with me for a look at Bitcoin's chart right here. I would say it's too early to really classify this as another similar pattern to what we saw up here. You could just move this line here, this line to about there, and then you see a very similar pattern to what we're having right here. And so far, we have not made a break above 70,700. Over the weekend, we were attempting it, but right now we haven't managed, and we are kind of respecting this line here. But again, guys, it's very early to be declaring that any sort of pattern. Some could also argue that we are forming a new bear flag just starting. Again, guys, it's very early to be making these sorts of assumptions, but you could say that this is the start of a bear flag. So coming down to retest really 67, potentially coming all the way up to 78, and then maybe eventually losing this region right here. So we have to wait patiently to see what will happen as we are moving the way we are. Jason Pizziano has pointed out that Bitcoin traded under the 200-week MA for 270 days before its first true break in March 23. It's then spent another 220 days testing and retesting the 200-week MA before finally breaking out in October 23. That's nearly 500 days trading around and below the 200-week. He doesn't think that investors are ready for what depression and silence feels like in crypto, and I couldn't agree more. It's not even like the most pain in this market isn't the day where we get these huge crashes to the downside, because more times than not, and more often than not, the days that follow like obscene black swan events normally have green days, normally have bounces, and normally have a lot of opportunity. What's the hardest in this market is the pits of the bear. It's boring. People consider us all idiots, and it's really hard to get out of the mentality of what it was like in the bull market, right? Expecting these rallies, realizing that everything is just continually dying, but also realizing that that's a normal market environment for Bitcoin, for crypto. It's what's happened every single bear market. So what he's saying is 500 days is enough days to even sour the taste of the most experienced investors. The only reason why I can tell you that I'm going to continue to show up, and I'm going to continue to DCA, and I'm going to continue to see this market in the positive light it should be seen in, is because I've done it before. The first bear market, I did it, but I felt sick for literally 2 years. I felt like I was an idiot. I felt like it was wrong. It didn't feel right, but I stuck to it because I tried to learn from the best minds in the market. I tried to apply, say, what Warren Buffett says to this new emerging market back in 2018, 2019. Not many people were here in crypto. And I tried to apply his logic, blood in the streets, buy. When it's boring, position yourself. All of these sorts of things, not just Warren Buffett, but everyone. Try and do that. And it was so scary then. And then it worked in 2021. It was incredible. We went back into my second bear market in 2022. And I was like, okay, I've got to do it again. Slowly but surely. Accumulation. This time, my mistake was in 22. I didn't buy enough, right? I bought great amounts, but nowhere near as much as I could have, and I didn't enjoy the time. That's one of the most important things that I like to ramble on about on this channel, is actually the emotion, right? As a trader, I think the most important thing isn't indicators, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, macro analysis. No, I think it's emotion and keeping check of your emotion. In market environments like this, it's so important to keep check of your emotions. Do things that you enjoy. Right? Enjoy the time where it's calm. Right now, we have this amazing opportunity. We can focus on cash generating activities, for example, whether it's our income, whether it's a salary, asking for a raise, trying to increase our income and our revenue in our business so we can generate more cash flow to invest into assets that may for the next year be going down in crypto. And we may even have a recession where stocks and things go down for a long time. But this is our opportunity. So instead of instead of looking at this as a terrible thing, it's bad, it feels like crap. And don't get me wrong, it's almost impossible to not do that if this is your first time or even second time, because that was me, right? But now we have the opportunity. Take a seat back. We can breathe. There's no need to jump into trades. There's no need to feel this sense of FOMO. That isn't here. What we should be feeling is, okay, how can I make more cash to put into the assets I believe? And that's what I'm doing anyway. And that's the opportunity that we see right now in this market. So even if we do spend all of this time down here, it's an opportunity to follow our strategies. But what we see is whales accumulating Bitcoin here, which sounds counterintuitive, all right? But look at this. For a long time now, whales have been doing nothing. But as the price is sinking, whales are accumulating, right? So in a scenario, I think the worst case scenario that happens from here is another 50% drop, right? Another 50% drop puts us right in this zone of the percentage drop we had here and the percentage drop that we had here. Will that happen? I don't know. But this is the worst case scenario of what we've seen in history. Maybe we drop even a little bit lower. For me, I'm going to be taking advantage by accumulating Bitcoin. Now, people say, well, why would you bother? Just buy the bottom. Well, exactly the same way I am handling the recent crash in Amazon. I'm actually trying to acquire as much money right now, cash, as I can. I'm diverting my weekly investments into Amazon because Amazon is down from its highs. I think it's almost 20%. Yeah, right now, 23%. I think this is a gift. I think that this is a gift, and I think that Amazon could easily continue to drop, right? It's gone up a lot since, say, 2023, significantly. So if it comes down to those sorts of regions, I'm going to be acquiring this heavily because I believe in Amazon. I use Amazon. I've been looking into the finances, all of that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I know this isn't a stock channel, but this is the mindset that I think is the winning mindset, right? Maybe Amazon turns out to be the wrong investment and somehow Amazon fails. But I want you to understand how I feel about Amazon because it's more tangible than Bitcoin, right? But I feel the same about them. As Amazon goes down, I get more and more excited. I think, how on earth can I generate more cash and capital to invest into this asset? Because I believe wholeheartedly that in 10 years, Amazon will be worth more than it is today. So any amount of cash that I have, right, is worth putting in so I can slowly grow it over time. However, not an amount of money that would financially ruin me. That would mean I couldn't pay my rent for the next year. I couldn't buy utilities, groceries, all of that stuff. That's how I stay unemotional in this market. So research the opportunities that are in this market because there are tons of opportunities in the market right now as we speak. And Bitcoin has closed its fourth straight red weekly candle. Is it time that this trend breaks soon? Because you can see we haven't really had any of the 4 consecutive weekly closes in a long time. Wait, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've just closed it. We've opened our next 5th. Is it the 5th red candle? Just look at this. All right. So these are the weekly candles. You can see we haven't had anything like this since back here at the start of the bear market. Further show that we are in a bear market. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 green. And then 9, 10. So that was the worst. The streak that we've seen in recent times, or maybe even ever since I've been in the market, right, is 8 consecutive red candles. So we are only on 5. So we can significantly go more in the red according to history. So plan for that, guys. Are you going to short the market? Are you going to long the market? Are you simply going to accumulate? For me personally, to answer the questions that people keep asking, is it better to sell now and buy again later? That might work for you if you can time the perfect bottom. I just don't believe I can do it. So that's how I'm handling this market. That's the news, guys. And even the president of PayPal says Bitcoin is better than gold and will reach 1.5 million. So with that in mind, that is why I'm comfortable buying Bitcoin at 68K. Just like Amazon, I'm seeing this 10 years in the future, and I believe that Bitcoin can get to $1 million in 10 years, right? 10 years. That's how far I'm looking at this. So if I buy Bitcoin, for example, today at 68 and it drops to 40, I buy some more. It drops to 20, I buy some more. And then in 10 years, that same Bitcoin is worth $1 million. Who cares? That's my question. I'll see you in the next one.